So today we're going to be looking at pruning Mahonia, and we're going to be pruning the big Mahonias, the ones like Charity and Winter Sun. And there's a lot of history with Mahonias. Thomas Nuttall, way back in the 1700s, named Mahonia after a man called Mahone, an Irish horticulturalist who moved from England to the USA. And so it was named after him, and he had a nursery and he grew plants from seed. And Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, actually sent him some seed that had been collected on a plant tour. So a great sort of genus of plants. And we've got other types of Mahonia. There are the more compact ones, the ones like Aquifolium, and we've also got Smaragd and Wagneri Pinnacle, which are slightly more compact ones. But I think the really stately ones for architecture are this lovely Mahonia Charity types. There was also another one called Faith and Hope, which were also good ones, and Buckland, which has massive racemes. So in order to prune it, one of the things Mahonias have got is a really nice bark. And so they've got the corrugated bark, and what we're going to do is we're going to take away some of the foliage from the base of it so we can reveal that lovely characteristic bark of it, which looks really good. And we can do that on Arabiotra and other plants as well. The juggling act is we have also got to remove some of the top growth, because the snow will kind of, if you get too much snow, that's going to really push it down and squash it, and it's going to go out of shape. So we need to stop the snow loading. There's a little bit of thinning to do as well, but the good news about Mahonias is that basically you can prune them quite hard and they'll come back. But I'm going to expose the base. I'm going to remove the material which could be a problem with snow loading. This one is, there's an absolute beautiful Betula albicinensis that I planted in memory of one of my previous bosses. Her husband died many years ago, over 20 years ago, and so we planted this beautiful birch. So we want to make sure that we have still got the identity of the birch, but we've taken the Mahonia back and made both of them have their space and identity, and they both look good. So let's get cracking. So it's not a bad idea to have a glove with Mahonias. They are a bit sharp. I generally don't work with gloves, but in this case it might be handy just to push things out the way. So we'll start. I've got a pair of loppers, I've got a pair of secateurs, a little bit of sterilant, either an alcohol based one or even a bleach light solution will get rid of the cross contamination diseases. So let's get going. So the first thing I'm going to do is to kind of remove these ones coming off and hanging down. You don't want that. So I'm going to trace it back. We're going to go all the way back in here, and you can see that this one goes all the way back to this main stem. And so I'm going to take that one out straight away. Take that out and put that. We're just looking at the balance of the overall shape of it. You've always got to stand back and look, and you can see that on the right hand side it's really growing out a long way. On that side it's growing out quite a long way on the left. So there's two here that are real strong contenders, the bottom left and the bottom right, to remove those to balance the shape and get that nice upright form. So let's give that a go. I'm going to use a pruning saw for this. So we'll get in there, and what we're going to do is we're going to remove the weight off the branch. So cutting a third below, just beyond it. I'm going to do that just to remove that branch, and you get this beautiful yellow growth. And if you know someone who makes pens, I know there's a guy down in Bolton on the Water who makes these pens, and he's always looking for this yellow wood to make his pens out of. So you might find someone local. Now I've removed the weight, I can look at doing a finishing cut fairly close to the stem, slightly angled away. Move that one off, slight angle, but it'll look quite nice when I finish, rather than a great big stump or anything like that. We can remove some of these old stumps here because we want to see the lovely bark. So I'm going to cut that off. And already, hopefully, you can see in here really nice, attractive bark already opening up. I'll take the ones out round the back so you can see it a little bit better. There's a branch here that's going out too far. Just cutting from below by a third, slightly ahead of it. Cut down, remove the weight so it doesn't tear, and then a final cut right down there, and then that takes that out quite nicely. Then we'll take this out of the way. This out of the way over here. We've got a branch here that's growing out too far. Let's take that off, and then we'll do the. I'm just going to remove all these little bits, and you can really begin to see how nice this bark is. So I've got to remove some pieces around the back as well. And there's as you can see, there's a horizontal branch here just on my left which is just growing down to the ground, which we can remove that. And there's one that's really curling down to the ground, and you don't really want that one. So again, and it's got nothing on it all the way back. So again, I'm gonna remove that one. So what we've got here, you can just see, there's a lot of clutter in the middle of this plant. We've got all this clutter. If we get all that out of the way, you're going to get all this beautiful bark, and it's going to look really good. Take that out. We'll take out this one right next to it. From below, and get that one out of the way, and then you can see there's a whole group at the back here that just want taking out, and then suddenly we'll have all the lovely bark, and then we can focus on the top part of the tree to get that right. That would be really good. So let's just have a quick look around the back. So we're going to get all this little bit here, all that wants to come off. We could just going to cut off actually with the loppers and then do a cut across here. Suddenly now you really begin to see shape. You see there's one going straight upright, which we might use, but there's a big one here at the back. Is one that's a real contender to take out, because that's really, this big one at the back is really throwing the shape of it all the way out. So I'm going to take that all off because I'm trying to rein in the sides. So just take it flush here for now. Got that off, and there's another one here that's going right out to the left hand side, which again is messing up the shape of the tree. So again, the overall shape is beginning to get a lot better, a lot more upright. So we can now begin to see the overall sort of shape of it, and again it's time to step back and have a look. I've got a little bit on the left there, there's a branch going out to the left just here, which is messing up the view of the birch to the left of it. So I'm going to take that piece off, and the one to the left of that, and then this piece to the right, I'm going to take that off, and then we're going to have a look at what we can do then. Okay, and there we go. That's now got a nice rod off there. You can see there's this curly floppy one which we don't want, so we want it to grow upright because that's the way it looks better as a Mahonia. So we're going to do that. We're going to just take off this little piece here, finishing cut from below. There we go. That's got the upright shape back. There's maybe a couple on the front, which will just go around to the front. The finished product at the moment, with the Betula and the Mahonia all each having their own identity, but if we go around you'll see that there's still a bit of work to do where we could cut them back. We could, for example, cut this one here back to the next block because it is a bit bigger. Now what you'd have to do is to find a point to cut it back. Now that's tricky on here because it's not obvious, but sometimes you get these little bulges, but on other pieces, for example here, it's very obvious. So with this bit of the Mahonia, where it's just going really long, because you get bits that are missing on the Mahonia, and that's just hanging there. So clearly this is one that needs going back to a bud. Well, you could take it back to a bud, or if you wanted to, you could go back to one of these little sort of scars, these little scars where the adventitious buds will come from. So I'm going to cut it back to that new growth, and there's a few of those to do before we finish. Definitely think that the bark looks really nice, and we've reduced that a little bit of height as well, thinned it out, and we've got the birch, and I think that's looking a lot better. And so what we'll do, we'll have a look at one other one, and then we're done. This is more like the Wagneri pinnacle, and you've got growth all the way down, but you have pieces of stem missing, so you have to cut it back really to get a nice sort of green sort of look about the whole plant. And if you do that, you end up with a much sort of fuller display. So as they get more sort of upright, you do lose foliage, and depends what you want, but generally speaking you want you know, quite a bit of foliage on that particular type of Mahonia, so you can prune that slightly different. Whereas, you know, on the one we've done, so on this Mahonia, these are like the pinnacle Wagneri types. You also get Mahonia smart, which is a very upright, rather than the beautiful racemes that you get out sideways. You get more of a clump on the more traditional Oregon grape types, which the birds love to go for. Now what happens with these, the problem is that they get very leggy, and you get pieces of stem that are missing. So once they finish flowering, which is generally when you prune most Mahonias, we can chop it right back. So you want to chop that one right back to rejuvenate it. So you can see here there's lots of branches missing. But remember that the good thing about Mahonia, it's got these little leaf scars where it will shoot again from. So you can literally cut it anywhere on any of those and it will shoot again. So that's a bit of pruning Mahonia. All the pruning videos now are done in playlists. So if you go on, click on the channel, click on playlists, and I've got all the RHS videos, all the pruning ones, all the show gardens and things like that, plant identification. They're all on different playlists to save you looking around the channel. So why not getting stuck into a Mahonia soon? It's just getting near the time. So remember, just after it's finished flowered, and a good time to prune it. And it's a very versatile plant, good for a semi-shade sort of area. It does really well, even on a north-facing site. So it's a really good plant to have. Great foliage, and so why not get stuck in and have a go. And we'll see you next time for another pruning tutorial.